Howdy, collaborator. A lot of you have been asking about weapon XP, which is a fair question as there seems to be a lot of misinformation about how you actually obtain it. Which makes sense as the developers have changed how it works every single playtest so far, but I imagine the way it works now is how it's gonna stay. However, sadly due to a recent change, you can no longer get an XP boost like this. At least not if you're not willing to grind it out for a couple hours. So weapon XP used to work by kills, after that damage, and now it's damage with extra steps. Those extra steps really make this a long grind. But anyway, weapon XP still scales off damage. Now the amount of XP per damage is different from every single weapon. Generally, sidearms do gain a lot more experience than primary weapons. But even within those categories, individual weapons gain a different amount of XP. Weapon XP does not scale with difficulty, and there's no other factors that will boost it either. However, there's a small caveat, as the XP per damage is capped. And let me explain how. So, take this fool for example. He has about 20 HP, right? But when I shoot him, I deal 72 damage. Which might sound great and you think, wow, if 1 damage equals 1 XP, then I get 72 XP every time I make a headshot with this Winchester. Not really. As I said before, it is capped. It's capped to the max HP of that enemy. So instead of getting 72 XP, I would be getting 20. And that is why it goes so much slower because, well, I could have made almost 4 times the amount of experience in the same time. So sadly, those times where you deal over a couple hundred damage no longer contribute to your overall experience pool. But now let's go over what is the most efficient way to actually level up said weapon. However, before we start that, I want to preference that the example I gave for the XP ratio is literally just that, an example. You actually get a bit more experience per damage. And while I would love to sit here and calculate weapon XP for every single weapon, they already changed the bow in a very recent patch to give more experience, so that would be kinda wasteful. So for the best method to gain XP, defeat the boss, and I would suggest ringing the bell. That way you have an easy escape when things get hairy. And because you defeated the boss, enemies spawn infinitely. So now you just gotta sit here and defeat as many enemies as you can with the desired weapon you like to level up. I would recommend choosing a difficulty that suits your weapon. As you can see, I'm currently on normal difficulty, but there's plenty of enemies that spawn. As for loadout suggestions, I would say ammo pack is good for most situations. However, if you're leveling something like the boomerang that doesn't use any ammunition, energetic bottle is great, just to keep you alive. As for spells, I suggest having Ritual. This is a level 20 voodoo spell. If you want to know how to gain the most amount of XP for spells, I'll have a link in the description to a video explaining that. But anyway, Ritual, either Surcharge or Contagion would be great, as this will immediately clear the field of the annoying flying enemies as well as the low HP dudes. And then the last one is up to you. I personally have Thunderstrike, but this is the highest level electric spell, so I'm sure that not everyone has this yet. But honestly, any other one will do. As for jokers, it doesn't really matter, just take something that keeps you alive. That is the guide for weapon experience. So to keep it short, basically just kill enemies, but the experience is capped to their max HP. I hope this was helpful, and stay tuned for more guides, partner.